So real quick, for those of you who may not be familiar with the Budget and Tax Center, this is a little bit about us. We are a group, a nonprofit, where we envision a state that, where everybody can reach their full potential and achieve well-being through the support of trustworthy anti-racist institutions and systems that we all participate in building. And one of the things you need to do some of this work is some of these different tools and resources. And just to tell you a little bit about myself, I am a former journalist. So I used to work a lot without a lot of resources or funding. So I had to get creative and find tools that I could use that didn't require payment. And, you know, it's not even moving into nonprofits, I basically moved from no budget to a little budget. So you know, still always looking out for tools that can help us do this work that don't cost an arm and a leg. So what we're going to go over in this meeting is 5 of my favorite tools, including Canva. And thank you, Ken. That's very nice. Ken says that his favorite tools are reports from BTC and the Justice Center, and I am glad you like our reports. We're going to go over this, and then I'm going to share a link with you that has even more resources linked in it that we won't have time for today, but you're welcome to take a look through. And if you have any questions about anything, just email me. All right, so let's get started. We're going to talk first about Canva. And so just a little bit of an overview before I open up Canva and show you some stuff. Canva is a free graphic design tool, basically, that you can design just about anything you can think of, from posters to social media to videos, reels, websites, and slides like this one. This whole slideshow I did in Canva. And it's a very drag and drop sort of thing. It's very easy to use, even if you don't have a whole lot of design experience, because they have a lot of templates and things that you can use. It's free for a basic plan. Which is great. And if you have a nonprofit and you didn't know, you can get a free pro plan for nonprofits, which opens up a few more resources, more images you can use, things like that. And even if you're not a nonprofit, it's $10 a month to get the pro plan, which gives you a few more options on things you can use. But you can get away with it just doing the basic plan. And so I'm going to show you a few things right now. These are all things that we've designed using Canva, including our voting guide that came out, it was yesterday. I hope y'all saw that in our emails. And I'll show you a little bit about how you can do stuff like that. Wrong. All right, so when you sign up for a free plan for Canva, this is some of the stuff that you can do. There are all kinds of templates and things. So depending on what you need to do, whether it's a presentation like this, Instagram posts, you know, different kinds of presentations, different types of social media, videos, print products. If you need brochures, we use this to do our business cards and more. And so you can, yeah, you can do just about anything in Canva. So let's pretend we're gonna do a flyer template. So the nice thing about this is you can also search for something that's already kind of themed to what you're doing. So if you're doing maybe an education summit, you can do education and see what kind of templates come up that might work for a flyer or something that you're going to do. And I'm not going to show you how to use these tools today. I'm kind of showing you what they can do. But they all usually have a pretty good tutorials. So there's a Canva design tutorials that you can go through and look at and see some tips and stuff on things like that. But you can easily decide that you're going to do, you know, a different kind of flyer or slideshow or whatever it is that you need to do. You know, maybe you're doing a Facebook post. You can just go in and customize this template because it, you know, has courses and stuff. You can find, there's all kinds of things that Canva offers for you. So you can go in here and look at different photos and things that you can pull in here. And let's say I want to pull in this instead of that. You can easily, you know, customize these templates, colors, everything from your heart's content. So this is one of my favorite tools, you know, and as a longtime Photoshop advocate, it took me a while to admit that Canva was a great tool, but it really is. So This is one of my favorite tools. And we used it to produce this document, which again, I hope you saw, Our Freedom to Thrive. It's an education, it's a voter education guide, where we talked a little bit all the different policies and stuff, and some questions that you could ask your lawmakers about these different policies to make sure that the ones you're voting for are gonna care about the things that North Carolinians care about. So, and the embedding in the website and interactive, that is not through Canva. That is through a plugin we have. I downloaded. It was a free plugin for the website. I'm happy to share that after this. But there's also things like issue, issuu.com that lets you do that kind of thing too. But if anybody else is curious about the plugin, I'm happy to include the name of the plugin in the email that we send out. So yeah, that is my first favorite tool. Before we move on to the next one, is there any other things, any questions you have about Canva and the kind of things that we do with Canva? If you've seen us on social media, you've seen some of our reels on Instagram. I know that Katarina, our social media maven, uses Canva to make some of those really great reels and different things. You know, you can use it for everything. Any questions before we move on to the next tool? Okay, if you think of some, we can answer some more at the end too. My second favorite tool that I use here, and we use a lot here because we use a lot of data, is a tool called Data Wrapper. It's free. I say it's free. It's completely free for most of the things that everybody usually uses. It is $500 a month if you want to brand it with your own logos and colors and things. We do not do that. We don't think that was worth it, but you know, there are probably newspapers and things out there that do that. But we use Data Wrapper to create charts, to create tables, maps. And one of the reasons we love it so much is that it's accessible. We can add alt text on the back end of these charts so folks with screen readers can, you know, read stuff too. It's interactive, and I'll show you that in a minute here, where you can hover over these different things and we can add information in here. And it's very shareable. Each of these Data Wrapper charts that you see on our Facebook, or sorry, on our website is you can grab the embed code at the bottom, or you can download just a static image from it and share it on your own website. You can share the graph, the image somewhere. All that we ask is you just give us credit or keep our credit on here, but you can use these to your heart's content. So these are a couple things I pulled that we've created. Yeah, and Katarina is sharing a couple in here that I'm gonna go over real quick. So this is the one you saw here. But you can see that you can hover over things and you can add all kinds of information in here in Data Wrapper for folks to get, you know, more involved with your charts. This is just sort of a bar chart. This is one you've probably seen a whole lot from us because it's in every budget report, a share of our spending in North Carolina relative to the economy. So we can show you that how much our spending has fallen over time, but you can also, you know, like I said, hover, add different things to the graphics, and you know, that you can do maps as well. So you can, you know, add different content and texture and everything to the different counties, for example. And then just to show you on the back, and this is sort of you know, what you see when you sign up for a free Data Wrapper account is if you have a bunch of graphics you've worked on, you can go in here and see all of them. And it's pretty intuitive, I think, to create these different charts and graphics and things. And they have something called the Data Wrapper Academy, where you can, it's up here somewhere, yeah. You can go through their different tutorials and everything. And every time I've had a question, I've been able to find it on their about page. And so these, just to show you some of the different kinds, if you go to like our labor market page, for example, you can see so many different kinds of charts and different types of things, and get an idea for how you might use some of these tools in Data Wrapper. But anytime you have a bunch of data that you want to share with folks, and it would be better than just having it in a table or an Excel to share with folks, like it's very easy to upload that to here and create some sort of different visualization. That they have, change your colors, whatever you want to do. We do lots of different kinds of charts and stuff on here. So feel free to poke around on our website. You'll see this in all of our different reports and stuff. So does anybody at the moment have any questions about Data Wrapper? Okay, I'm gonna go back to the presentation then. All right, my number 3. It depends. I mean, let me go back here for a second. I see a question in the chat about do you have to provide all the data, or do they have data that you can choose from? There are some sets of data in there that you can choose from just to play with. But if you want to have data that's relevant to your county or your state or whatever, then you're going to need to provide your own. And if you look in our charts and stuff, you'll see that we often have links to where we got the data from. It might be from the Bureau of Labor Statistics is where we get a lot of some of our data. We get it from there's a lot of different like government agencies and stuff, like the census, they release poverty data and all kinds of other stuff that we use. Sometimes it's data that we've created ourselves from different sources, but typically if you want to, do these kind of charts, you'll probably want to provide your own data. And it could be even simple data, like that you're doing for maybe like a grant report or something like that, where you want to show like over the last 5 years how much you've increased the number of people you help with your organization or whatever it might be. You can just get a simple spreadsheet of that data and just put it in there and create a really nice looking little chart here. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. But there is some sample data in there that you can play with just to see how it works. Okay, so number 3, I love the Into Action Content Library. And this is a group of designers and artists and different people who just want to create free GIFs or images on a variety of topics and a variety of styles, and they're free for you to use. I just pulled 3 of my favorite ones I had in a folder. But they're often very much about the kind of topics and things that we care about. So, asking the rich to pay what they owe, there's stuff around education, and there's all kinds of other things about what we can have when the rich pay what they owe. I had this one of Russell Crowe set aside for social media in the coming weeks because we want people to vote and show up. And let me just show you an example of here. So this is what you see when you go to the Into Action group. It says that it's a movement of designers and different people and they take requests sometimes. So if there's stuff in here that you don't see that you need, you can request it. But if you I'm just doing a search for revenue. And you can see that there's a lot of different things in here for revenue. And some of them, there's a lot of different tones. There's a lot of different styles. So you got to find one that works for you. But, for example, you might have seen this one sometimes on our social media. But you've also probably seen some like this too on our social media. And, because obviously with the corporate tax rate, going to 0 in 2030, by 2030, we are doing a lot of work to let people know. And sometimes, something fun like a GIF gets a lot more eyeballs on social media than other stuff. So you can download it in lots of different formats. You can make it a sticker, like if you wanted to do some buttons well, that's not right. But yeah, we've used these as images on buttons and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's some C4 stuff that is not stuff we can post, but there's a lot of great C3 stuff that's nonpartisan that we can post. So yeah, I encourage y'all to check that out. That's fun stuff to share just on your own personal social media page. All right, so number 4, and this is one I use constantly. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Creative Commons, but there is a Creative Commons program, whatever you want to call it, where you can license your content for anybody to use under different Creative Commons licenses. And it's because there's a group of folks who are, want information to be accessible and to be free. And so we also release a lot of our stuff under Creative Commons too. Actually, everything on the site that we create is Creative Commons. So you'll see often like this thing we had at the end of our recent budget report where it's licensed under this specific Creative Commons thing, which the one we use can be used by anybody as long as you're not selling it. But so there's a ton of Creative Commons material out there that folks can use for even commercial reasons, but for non-commercial reasons as well. So there's a lot of stuff that, is open to nonprofits and to folks who are doing this kind of work. And so the Creative Commons search portal, which we'll share a link to, is a place where you can go to one spot, one link, and find content that you're allowed to use for your different stuff. So this is what it looks like. And you can choose whichever ones you want to search. For example, I always search Flickr because they usually have some really great stuff. In this case, let me go ahead and add Wikipedia Commons. That's stuff that's put on Wikipedia that's usable by folks like us. So I'm just going to type in Asheville, just in case I wanted like a pretty picture of Asheville that I can use in our different stuff. So you can see here, this pulled up Wikimedia Commons. And these are all photos of Asheville that you are allowed to use in your stuff. And you just have to look at the license. So for example, if I wanted to use this church, you can look under here and see the description, the notes and everything, but you can also see usually on here somewhere there is the license for it and what the requirements are for you. Some people ask that you give them credit. Some people don't care about the credit. Actually, it only searches one at once. I see. Okay, so I'm going to go to Flickr, which is actually one of the ones I use the most because there's beautiful photos on here, and you can search using different. So you can go up here and change the Creative Commons license. You could say all. You could see I want to make sure it's stuff I can use commercially. I'm just going to do all Creative Commons here. And so you can see there's like some cool photos from Asheville that you might want to use. Maybe you're doing a story or something about the environment and it's related to Asheville. So now that you have, a pretty lake near Biltmore that you can use this photo of, and you can look at the license. And so licensing, some rights reserved, check what those are. And it says you're free to share it, you're free to adapt it or change it. Some people don't want you to change it, and but you must give appropriate credit. So that's sort of just looking for those things when you're looking for different content. But you can find content that's images, you can find content that is music or sound, there's video, there's all kinds of things that you can find different content for that you are allowed to use. So are there any questions around Creative Commons? We're also going to include a couple of links for you about what is Creative Commons and how it works. Okay, no questions. I'm going to move on to my 5th thing that I would love to share with y'all. And this is from my journalism past, but this is called Night Lab Projects, and it's all free. And so what they've done is there's a group out at Berkeley, the college out there, and they put together some projects that are meant for storytelling that anybody can use for free. And they're really aimed at newspapers. But the good news is that a lot of the work that we do is similar to what newspapers do or did once upon a time, where they're sharing stories and information and stuff. So we use their timeline project to do our dollars are past, which is our history timeline of tax policy in North Carolina. And it's a great project. If you haven't looked at it, we're going to share a link with that as well. But it kind of shows you some of the, racist policies that have happened in our past in North Carolina and how they still resonate today. So, so here I'm going to show you some examples they have of other projects that you can do using Night Lab. And like I said, this is all free. And this is all stuff that they have instructions on how to do it. So you just go to the project that you think you might want to use and make one. But like this is called Juxtapose, and it's one of those cool things that shows the back and forth you can do of like what it used to look like, what it looks like now, what it used to look, so, or there's other uses for it. But they also have a lot of different things that newsrooms have used this for. So I could see a lot of like environmental sort of uses for it. This is the story map app that they have, where you can add a bunch of links or videos or whatever it is you have about something that you can map and show the progression of, or something like that. And yeah, this is, again, you can go back here and look at some of the examples of how some others have used it. And there's all kinds of them. There's like one where you can storyline, where you can have a chart, but then you have little pop-ups about why is this number important. And so all of it usually involves putting your data or your text in Google Sheets and following their instructions on how to make these. So they also have some in beta that I haven't used, but they're always adding different things to see how they work for folks. And like I said, this is something we use the timeline for, to show our timeline of tax choices in North Carolina. And, it's a very cool interactive sort of thing that you can read. You can go up here and see the different things that happened in different times, different eras. Yeah, so it's just, a really cool tool. Okay, so any questions about that one? Okay. So those were the top 5. But just to show you, we're going to share this link out, and somebody has already discovered it, where we have, we've created a blog post with all of these links and some more that we didn't go over today. But this goes into, are they free, and has our top 5 we just talked about here. But then it has some more. So there's other ones here that you can look through and see what they, if they work for you or whatever. And if there's ones that you have that you think other people should know about, please, by all means, let me know too. Because I would love to add them to here.